These are live visuals coming from the Jubilee House, where the NDC Youth Wing has presented a petition to President Akufo-Addo, and they want, as they put it, the country fixed. They raise issues of security, and they claim that the president is not working to serve the generality of the population, but to serve a few of who they refer to as family and friends. The petition was received on behalf of the president by the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Idumwa Botsman, and some leaders of the protesters have been expressing their concerns to Joy News regarding the March for Justice. Among them is former Deputy Finance Minister Fifi Kwete, MP for Ningo Prampram, Sam Jata George, and KCL Ato Force, and they spoke to us earlier.
I mean, the country is becoming increasingly almost like a military state. I mean, there is, apart from the fact that there's so much fear in terms of the culture of silence, I mean, the danger that is creeping into becoming a situation where all kinds of what you call security forces are brutalizing citizens of this country. It's important for the people to be mobilized in order for us to express serious outrage against what is going on.
Is this call or this thing about insecurity, is it not directed at the head of security forces rather than the president and the vice president whom you are directing this demonstration against?
You know, the difficulty is that in the wake of what happened, for example, during the elections, when all kinds of brutalities, violence was committed against unarmed, innocent civilians, and nothing was done about it. That clearly opened the gateway for the kind of thing that are happening today. So the real buck stops at the top. So it is important for the president to know that what is happening today is simply a gate that he has opened as a result of what you call the desperation to win elections and the kind of bastardization that took place and all kinds of flagrant disregard of human rights, including killing of innocent civilians. So you can say that this is simply a consequence of those things that happened earlier. See, when you set up a commission yourself, a commission that really you set up, and that commission made a recommendation to you, and you literally don't do anything about it, what you do effectively is to render that whole exercise null and void. I mean, and again, the recommendations that were being made were nothing that were extraordinary. I mean, we're talking about disbanding a unit that had clearly become a completely different unit. That's really not too much to ask. And punishing people who clearly had done what was wrong. Now, when you don't do that, what you do is to encourage what it is we are seeing in the country today.
Indian citizens shot from the back. It is against the principles of international warfare to shoot a man in the back. Akufo-Addo is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and the armed forces have carried out such dastardly acts. Akufo-Addo has not shown us the soldiers who killed the Ghanaian citizens in Techiman, the soldiers who killed the Ghanaians in Ejura. You saw the rampage in Wa. That is Akufo-Addo's legacy. He's the tyrant-in-chief, and we are saying to him, enough is enough. This same Akufo-Addo promised the youth employment. He promised them jobs. Where are the jobs?
Okay, Honorable, someone wants to argue that during your administration, some of these things you are complaining about unemployment, injustice is also happening in your administration. So how would you respond to that?
I'll debate you on that. Let's take the issue of injustice. I'm going to give you, off the top of my head, a list of some journalists who have suffered injustice under this administration.
So we'll bring you more of that later. That was earlier recordings, but let's take you now live to that protest. Gifty under appear is there for us. Hello, Gifty.
Your way towards Parliament House, and I really wish that I could get to any of the leaders at this point so we could talk to them. And find out their impressions after they presented this petition. Unfortunately, though, they are not around here because they've started moving towards the Parliament House. But let me just get a little outside of this wall that has been formed, this police shield that has been formed right here, obviously for protection. Now, I must say at the beginning that we had Samuel George, Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, indicating that they've heard there will be military presence. I have not seen any military presence at all. What we have seen, by the way, is that you've seen some military vehicles moving around, and that's also because we walked by the Defense Ministry. That's their ministry, so obviously you'll see them. Here at the Jubilee House as well, I can see some military men. None of them here, by the way. All we have here are police officers doing their job. But it looks like the protesters keep coming coming in from all sides of town. So this is a new line that's just been formed here. All of them walking towards the Parliament House, which is supposed to be our next stop. So Benis, we're coming to you live from the Jubilee House. It's not every day that you get a chance to stand here, not even to film the Jubilee House, of course, which is a security zone. But we're here reporting on what's been happening with the protesters here. We're going to make our way out of here towards Parliament, and when we get there, we'll bring you the update as well. We'll also bring you the update of what was said when the petition was presented to the President through the Deputy Chief of Staff. Benis, let me hand over to you now.
Definitely Gifty and Rapia there, definitely still following and covering that protest by the NDC. They call it the March for Justice, and they've highlighted a few issues they believe should be addressed by President Akufo-Addo. So we are following keenly on this, but as you just heard Gifty say, this is quite a large protest, and obviously because of COVID protocols, they've had to divide the group, and so she is with one section and my colleague Daniel Dazi is with the other. Hello Daniel, what can you report from where you are?
So Bennett, we actually just arrived. The contingency that I was with just arrived at the Flagstaff House. We really missed the presentation of the petition because I'm sure Gifty has told you, and you've seen on camera, that the NDC decided to break the body of the demonstration. What that means is that they move in smaller groups of 50 to 100. So one group would move, there's a space, and then another group would move. I saw a number of key members of the NDC making sure that that spacing is respected. However, these groups were moving, as you saw on camera, in very, very tight groups. And so the social distancing was still not observed. I spoke to the General Secretary of the City about it. He admitted that it was difficult to enforce the social distancing protocols, but he pointed out, which I must say is largely true, that the majority of people were wearing nose masks. At the point, I have seen someone going around with a box of nose masks, offering it to persons who are not wearing them. Though, of course, there are still those who choose not to wear the mask or choose to wear the mask improperly. And we are told that there are those who are going around in the same way with hand sanitizer as well to ensure that those protocols are followed.
And so, Daniel, your group obviously will not make a stop at the Jubilee House. You just carry on straight to the Parliament House, is that it?
Exactly, Bernard. When we got here, the presentation had been done, and the contingency had started moving already. So we just followed.
All right, Daniel, we'll leave it here for now, but those are some shots of the protesters on your screens, I beg your pardon, and we've been bringing you live visuals since morning on this protest being carried out by the NDC and its sympathizers.